Hello. How are you today, fam? I hope you're well. I'm Jules. This is my daily vlog where I braid my hair and talk about what I'm going through, things I'm thinking about, things I'm learning, and that sort of thing. So stick around if that sounds up your alley. You're welcome here. Today, I can only think of one thing to talk about, weirdly, and it doesn't have anything to do with anything I've been going through recently, so I don't know why it's a subject that wants to be discussed, but it is, and that is times I've nearly died. And if the multiverse theory is true, I probably did in many universes over my life at different points in it. The earliest I remember was in Hawaii when I was 11, I think, and we're at a black sand beach, which is super cool, beautiful, and there were people body surfing, and I was super excited to get in the water. And then when I did, my parents were still on the beach, and I went into the water alone, and I'd seen kids my age in the water, and I don't remember there being warning signs about undertow, but like when the water left the shore, or before even the water left the shore, there was an undertow, a severe undertow, and it sucked my feet right out from under me and slammed my face into the sand. It was super disorienting and super scary. I think it might have even like knocked the breath out of me, so I had to like not panic and breathe in seawater. And I remember like being disoriented and like not really knowing which way was up until I saw bubbles going up. And then I like poked my head out of the water. And then I was super afraid that if my parents had seen it, they wouldn't let me get back in the water, but they hadn't noticed. So I looked around at the other kids and to see how they were staying upright, and they had their like when the water would go out, they had their legs spread apart and their knees slightly bent, so that it, like they were braced against it and it wouldn't suck them out. And I got good at doing that and was able to body surf and stand and not get, not have that happen again. But it was really, really scary. But the funny thing is that I was even more scared about not being able to stay in the water than I was about death at that point. I love the water. So that was, yeah, I think that was the earliest one. And then I'm not sure if this is next. It might be next. My parents were members of charity that rehabilitates wolves and reintroduces them back into the wild. But at the time, I don't know if they still do this, but at the time they were still having these camping trips out into the woods to kind of track the wolf population. And the way they did that is they trained people to howl exactly like wolves. And then they'd send us all out in various directions for a couple hours on these logging roads to howl and then listen for responses. And it was really cool, really cool. My family never got any wolves. We got lots of coyotes. But on this one trip, I'm standing outside the van with my parents. My mom is howling, and she is the best howler. Like, she's amazing at it. long, loud. It has the proper like tone drop offs. It's a beautiful thing. And so she's howling, and I think I was standing on the outside of her, like not between my parents. And I hear this crunching up the gravel road. Footsteps. I don't picture an animal. For some reason, I picture a deranged lumberjack with like a disheveled flannel shirt and an axe in his hand. And I start elbowing my mom, and she's like batting me away because she's howling. And I'm like, no, really, like there's something coming. And she's like not paying attention to me. And then all of a sudden, I wish I could do it. Maybe I'll see if there's a sound effect that will work, but it's like a roar. Like so loud. I think it was like, it had to be 10 feet away or less. It was so close and so loud. And then my parents were awake. And my mom and I started like hyperventilating, screaming like, ah, 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 ah. And we like totally smacked into each other, like trying to run opposite directions like a cartoon. We finally like disentangled ourselves. We all got in the van, and my dad turned the headlights on, and we had a spotlight that plugged into the cigarette lighter. So he turned that on and shone it out, and we didn't see what had made the noise. And we probably totally freaked it out. It probably thought there were wolves in its territory. And then like our reaction was probably like, what the heck is what is this? So we get back down to camp, and the camp leader is like, oh yeah, we didn't tell you there are mountain lions in that area, or the mountain lions have been spotted in that area. And we're like, no, you did not give us that important piece of information. So I think from then on, we always stayed in the van to do our howling. And it definitely, like, it was still magical, but there was also like this level of fear there. And I can imagine in multiple universes that scene went very differently and much less amusing. But that's definitely top of the list for one of the scariest moments in my life. And then, let's see here. I think that was probably about 5th grade. The Hawaii one was in 4th grade. The running the mile one and collapsing in 6th grade was a little scary. I don't think I thought I was gonna die though. I think I just felt like a faint, like I was fainting. The pool incident at the swim meet when I was in high school, that one was pretty scary. And if I'd been in another lane, I might have drowned. I'm really lucky that I was in a side lane for that. Especially since none of the adults could tell what was going on until I was out of the pool, and all of my teammates and competitors would have been racing. So yeah, it would have taken a while to notice that I was in trouble in that scenario. And then I think the next one is one of the scariest of all in my mind. Somehow it's a little scarier even than the mountain lion for me. I was living in an apartment with too many roommates. And so I'd do my homework at a cafe downtown, and then catch the last bus home. So that because it was just like a less chaotic environment, which is kind of crazy because that cafe was pretty crazy. It was a 24-hour cafe that could get pretty wild. Although I guess at that time of night, it wasn't as bad. But anyway, so I'd catch the last bus home, and on this one night, I caught the last bus home, and about a mile from home, I had to pee. Like, I wasn't gonna make it. I was not gonna make it. So I got off the bus and found a bush, and then I was just walking home, and as I'm walking on the sidewalk, I hear a car with loud bass slow down, like really slow down behind me. And I just start shaking my head, like, not interested, keep moving, dude. And he rolls up alongside me and rolls down his window. He's like, hey, need a ride? And I'm like, nope, sure don't. Thanks, though. He's like, no, really, I'll give you a ride. And I was like, no, really, I'm enjoying my evening walk, thanks. He's like, how about I give you a ride? I'm like, how about you don't? And he pulled up onto the sidewalk, like right in front of me, and said, get in the fucking car, bitch. And I was like, my blood ran cold. I was like, my options are very limited here. Like, if I try to go around either end of his car, he could just lightly tap me, injure me, and throw me in the trunk. What do I do here? I got into a Taekwondo stance. I didn't get very far in Taekwondo, but I knew the stance, and I started thinking, like, I will start kicking his car. I will kick his side view mirror off his car. Like, I am gonna do everything I can to, like, scare this guy. And I looked at him and I was like, look, if I get into that car, I'm gonna do everything I can to fucking end you. And thankfully, he believed me, and he said, oh, okay, yeah, no, yeah, okay. And he like drove off. I think I was shaking for the next hour. It was like, I mean, it's like, I don't know if I can win. Like, and I probably can't. This guy, you know, men are just naturally stronger than women. I couldn't really tell how big he was because it was night and he was in the car, but you know, I was just gonna make sure that I did as much damage as possible to him if I ended up in that vehicle. And then not long after that, no, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if this one was before or after. I feel like it was after. I was at college waiting for someone to come pick me up, and they were late. And this guy in a beat up old, like, matte black sports car, I think 80s model or early 90s, I don't remember, kept cruising slowly through the parking lot and asking if I needed a ride. And I was like, no, my ride's coming. And a few minutes later, he'd come back through. He's like, you're still here? Sure you don't need that ride? And I'm like, yeah, absolutely positive. My ride's coming. He's like, and my ride was very late. But this guy, like, went through at least 4 times and just, like, getting, like, more and more pleased looking that I was still there. And I was, like, kind of getting worried, like, if my ride doesn't come, and this college was kind of out in the middle of nowhere, I was worried about walking anywhere and this guy seeing me on the road and having a similar situation, because it was kind of like, it was possible to imagine, like, there being no witnesses to anything that would happen. So I was like really weighing my options on trying to find a payphone on campus, and figuring out what to do from there. So yeah, that was another scary one. And then, at my next college, I was sitting outside. This college had these big brick blocks that were kind of like stair-stepped. I don't know, like not sculptures exactly, but students would sit on them and eat lunch and do their homework and stuff. And that's what I was doing. I was between classes, sitting in the sun, eating my lunch, and doing some homework, I think. And out of the corner of my eye, I see something weird happening off to my right. And it keeps happening, and I finally look over, and there's this inebriated looking man trying to pull this female student off the block. And she is clearly panicking. Like, she's just like wide-eyed and like not nonverbal and just like trying to pull away from him. And I look around and like no one else is paying any attention. And I'm like, I can't just watch this happen. Like, I will never forgive myself if something awful happens here. When I know I can't do something. So I put my books in my bag. The thing weighed like 40 pounds, I swear. It was so heavy. And I go over there and I start with, dude, leave her alone. And I'm standing up on the block next to him. And he just kind of like glares at me with these really bloodshot eyes. I was like, leave her alone. And then he starts grabbing at my ankles. I'm like batting him away with my other foot. And I like kind of pull the girl up by her arm. And I said, get behind me and start running towards the school on top of the blocks. And so I get her going towards the school, and I get my bag off my shoulder and I'm swinging it at the guy because now he's scrambling up on top of the blocks to follow us. And so I'm like swinging my bag and like pushing her towards the school. And we get into school, and this was back before cell phones, really. And there was a big bank of payphones just inside the school. So we run over there and I call 911 and I explain to them what's happening. And then I tell the girl to stay there, and I go back outside to keep an eye on him. And by this point, he's already harassing someone else. Now, this girl has 2 male friends who think it's hilarious, and I feel bad about doing this, but I just left him there because she did clearly have people who were keeping an eye on the situation, although they weren't helping her at all. They thought it was funny, so they suck as friends. But I didn't think that she was in any danger, and if she was, they probably would stop laughing and step in. But I kept an eye on it anyway, until the cops got there. And then I ran over to them and pointed him out, and they tackled that guy and put handcuffs on him. And it was one of the most satisfying experiences I've ever had in my life. And then I went back into the girl and by the payphones, and I was like, are you okay? She's like, yeah. She was like still totally freaked out. And I was like, look, this sucks, but I don't know if you noticed, but no one else was paying attention at all. You have to learn to defend yourself. Like, sign up for some self-defense classes. There are lots of them around here. Like, I'm not going to be there next time. No one like me may be there next time. Like, you have to be able to defend yourself. And I feel kind of bad for not being more empathetic, but it was also true. And I hope that she did look into self-defense. And I recommend that for all of you, actually. Mostly women, but men too. I've known multiple women that have been mugged, and one guy when he had a broken arm. So when he was a little more defenseless, he was mugged. Yeah. People are scary, yo. People are scary. And I think it's really interesting that I find the interactions with humans a little more traumatic than the one with the mountain lion. Even though the mountain lion could have totally eviscerated me and my entire family, and it would have been awful. Somehow it has a cleaner feeling to it than what could have happened with any of the men that had ill intent. So on a lighter note, these are the earrings I'm wearing today. I've assembled them. I did not make the beads or the lovely blown glass flowers, but I assembled them years ago, and I love them. They're nice and bright, sunny, and yeah, let's leave it on a brighter note. And hey, I lived through all of them, right? I'm still here to tell you about them, and I'm glad that you're here alive to listen to them. So thank you for that. Thank you for being here. Thank you for spending your precious time with me. May you be happy, may you be healthy, may you be wealthy, and may you feel at ease. I love you so much. Until next time. Bye-bye.